Hi everyone, welcome. And this is Hui Min again, and welcome to the Thriving Moms in Business Summit. And I'm speaking with you today from Singapore and the same location as where our guest today is based, Michelle Horn. So welcome, Michelle.
Hi, Huimin. Thanks for having me, and thanks for watching whoever's watching right now.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, and I know we have a lot of good stuff to share with our audience today. So today we're going to talk about how to grow your personal brand and become an authority in your niche. And I know many of you are building a business or just starting out, and you really wonder, how do you get known and get that kind of credibility as the expert in whatever you're building? So Michelle is going to talk to us about that. And let me introduce Michelle to you a little bit. Michelle Horn is an author, a speaker, and mentor to mompreneurs, so our exact audience over here. She gave up her food and food and beverage business to be a stay-at-home mom when her daughter was born 7 years ago. And that was when she started a blog named The Chill Mom. And that eventually grew into a consultancy business, a book, and Michelle was named as one of the top 10 mommy influencer in the world. She's deeply passionate about women having it all and living their best mom life. And Michelle founded Mom Boss Academy to help moms build businesses from home, just like she did with her multiple six-figure businesses while raising 3 children ages 3, 5, and 7. So welcome, Michelle, and we are excited to have you share with us all this wonderful stuff.
Thank you. I try to make the viewers, your audience, time worthwhile.
Yes. So let's begin with talking about you, because I'm very curious to hear what's your story. Like, how did you come into this field now of, and how did mompreneurship and personal branding become your theme?
I think for me, like, you did a very well introduction of myself, so that's my brief story. So for me, it was the turning point of how I see the business grew is when I started building a personal brand. Is that I actually put an effort into how I differentiate myself. Like my blog, when I started the blog, like that's when people were still reading blogs. There were no like Instagram, right? There was Instagram, but it wasn't as big as it is now. So people were still reading blogs. There were still, many mommy bloggers in Singapore. And I thought, if I was going to do this well, and I was really focused pretty much from the start that I was going to monetize it, and how can I make myself stand apart from the other mommy bloggers out there. So I was really business focused about that. And I can find like the turning point of my business is when I apply personal brand principles into my own business. And then,
Yes. Wow. And can you share, when you say you noticed this turning point was when you applied personal branding, what did you notice? What impact did it have on your business?
Yeah, so I think when you become an authority in your industry or in your niche, there's a lot of good things that come to you, right? You're like, I've never done any ads. I could never put out any ads. The customer finds me through my blog or wherever they find me. I'm also usually the person that the press would go to if they require any more, one-liner or opinion, because or any magazine write-up, they will come to me, and I'm being featured in the press. And usually in every industry, there's usually that few person that always get picked, that always get landed the bigger brand deals, that always get featured by magazines, that always get, all things is easy because they know people and they establish themselves, and people know them for that something special that's different from other people. Like people know exactly what they do. So for me with blogging was that I was really niched into the pregnancy and early motherhood journey. So I talked a lot about what do you need during your pregnancy. So my article was very focused on evergreen articles on like what you need to get when you're pregnant. Do you need a confinement nanny? How to hire one? Like down to like interview questions that you should ask. yeah, so I was very focused on doing that instead of just like a blog and covers recipe. I tried to do that. When I first started, I didn't know what to do, and I covered like recipe, my daily life, what I was feeling yesterday when my kid was like having this tantrum. I was covering everything, and it was
You were trying
speaking
different
to no
things.
one. Yeah,
Yes.
until I niche down. That's when I can really see my traffic picks up. You know, I added an opt-in, and there was people signing up, and there was more followers on Facebook, but then it was Facebook. And then, yeah, PR agencies and clients starts to take notice of me, and the emails and offers starts pouring in. And then I still wasn't going into personal branding. I was happy doing what I was doing, right? And but a lot of my followers started seeing me doing that, and they asked me, "Oh, so how do you do that? I would like to learn." And I thought, hey, you know, because I'm also growing as a business person, as I was growing, and the best way to learn is when you teach someone, isn't it?
Yes.
It's how like reinforce and like
Yes.
applying what I knew into different niche and different mom needs, especially, is very fulfilling, and it's reinforced that this system works across different genre, across different markets or products or services. So yeah, that really sort of solidified that for me.
Yes. I'm so glad you're saying this, because I know that for a lot of our audience, and especially if you're starting out, this is a problem I've seen as well, that people are so afraid to niche down because they think, oh no, I'm giving up on that. What if I get a wrong niche? And people are so afraid to focus. But really, it's when we focus and we niche down that we can really speak directly to the people we want to help. And we actually speak to somebody and not to everybody and nobody.
Exactly. And then it's fine. Like a lot of us are multi-passionate, right? Like I was very passionate. I was also learning as a business owner, as I was mentioning before, but I did not go straight into business first because I did not have the credibility back then to talk about business, to talk about, well, I did. I had an F&B business before that, but then I still wasn't feel like I was ready enough. So I feel like once you have cultivate a tribe, you know, people who follows you, who understand you, who sort of like they have grown with me since the pregnancy stage, and to now they're ready to listen and talk about maybe building a business from home, then we're both at the stage where we're ready. Yes. So it's okay if you have multiple, you're multi-passionate, people call it these days. Niche in on one, and when that is successful, you can always branch out later.
Yes, exactly that. That's so beautiful to hear that your tribe grew with you. I know a lot of these successful entrepreneurs, they say the same, that, you know, you have to grow and your tribe is going to grow with you. So it's not just serving them for a one-off period, but actually you're serving them for a much longer period. Like your audience probably came to you in the beginning for the pregnancy.
For the pregnancy, exactly.
Yeah,
so
and
our children grew together, and we all have this full life. It's not all about children and pregnancy, but that season was really hard. We're really focused on that. We spent a lot of time for our children, and then what's next, right? Yes. So I could go into parenting if I want to, but I try. I was invited to speak on a few stages about parenting and how I parent my kid, but my heart wasn't really into it. And I felt like I may not be like the best person if my heart isn't into it. But to help moms, and also my personal story, once I identify my why, and I feel like helping mom grow a purposeful income from home is what is really close to my heart right now. So that's why I'm focusing on that right now. Yeah.
Beautiful. That's a very good bridge into a question I have, actually, because you talk about how when you focus on your why, then you really identify that that's what you want to, what you're passionate about. And for many of these women and moms out here, to begin with, they're asking, okay, personal branding. I remember I had the same question when I was starting out, like, what do I pick, and how do I even identify what is my personal branding and decide? So what tips do you have for that?
Personal branding, whether you like it or not, you think you need to identify your personal branding, you already have one, whether you're conscious about it or not, right? Is regardless of whether you're a business person or you're working, or if you're a stay-at-home mom, you already have a personal brand. You just have to be very strategic about it, right? So think about, who are you? what's your strength, and what do you want to be known as? So, for example, even if you're like the HR person of the company, if you're working for someone, you might think, I don't have a personal brand. I don't need a personal brand. Whether you like it or not, you do have fun. People tend to know, are you the problem solver? Can I go to this person who always have a solution for my problem? Or are you the whiner who's always complaining? So that could be part of your personal brand without you noticing. So I feel like personal brand is not about you identifying. It's great. You need to first know yourself and then think of what do you want to be known for? What are your strengths? And what are the things that people have already been asking you that comes naturally to you, right? Like people could ask you things that you're like, why do you even ask me? That's so easy, right? But to other people, it's actually hard. For example, like for stay-at-home mom, you might be really good in cooking, but for someone who doesn't know how to cook, they're like, how much water should I add into cooking rice, for example,
yes.
right? To you, that's like a no-brainer. I just bang, 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 and it's perfect.
Yes.
So things like that. So find out like what are the questions that people tend to go to you for, and you find super easy. It's like a no-brainer. And if that's something that you like to keep on learning about, you may not already be an expert in, but if you are passionate about the subject and you're constantly learning and sharing, that could be your personal brand. That could be something that you like to develop. So personal brand is something that you developed, right? Just like a brand for a product. When the product is first being manufactured, there's no brand around it, right? It's being cultivated by an ad agency. So like the color, the feel of it, how does it like to be known as, whether is it reliable or is it like cheap, value for money? It's all created by you. So yeah, so in that essence, because of that, it makes it so interesting and fun because you can create anything out of nothing. But of course, you have to live that authentically. You can't just be a personal brand, but you are not that person. You know, you need to follow through. You need to live it. You need to talk about it so often, and that it becomes part of you.
Yeah, and I guess from what you've shared about your journey, we also have to be brave to just try, and if it's not that, tweak it, like how you start out with a different kind of branding, something that was much broader.
Now that you bring it back to my personal story, like I'm not expert in pregnancy, but I've been through pregnancy, and this is what I learned through like reading multiple books and trial and error, and this is what I'm sharing with you. And it may not resonate with anyone, and that's okay. You know, it will resonate with some people, and that's all you need.
And that some people will be your tribe and the people you will serve and help.
Exactly. Yeah. You might even take off some people. You might even have haters, but not important.
I guess that's not the might. That is for sure. That when we put ourselves out there and become more visible and really step up to what we believe in, there will be people who kind of believe in the same thing as us, and there will be people who don't, and that's okay.
Yeah. In fact, I just talked about it yesterday on my IG Live. I do an IG Live every day at 9 a.m. Singapore time. And there's a lot of people who are dream killer. And you might think that these people who are like just hater or trolls on internet that you can avoid. But actually, a lot of time is those people who are close to us. They tell us not to take risks, not to do something that's like is in your dream, because they don't get it. They are not you. They just want to keep you safe. They don't want to see you getting disappointed, so they tell you not to do it. So just take it with a pinch of salt. Tell them not to worry and just keep doing you.
Yes, that's so important. I think a lot of us face that as well, because we have a lot of well-meaning people who care for us, and they're afraid. They put their fear upon us.
Yes, exactly. And our job is to assure them that we've thought this through, not to be afraid. And if anything goes wrong, we're the one living with it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, for me personally, I get so much more confidence when I'm part of a tribe, part of a network of people who are on the same track as me and growing with me. And I have a mentor and a coach, because that gives me so much more confidence to know this is what I'm doing, even though you guys don't know what it is and don't really see how it's going, but I know it works. And I'm going to show you how.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So now we covered the part about the beginning stages of so-called being strategic about the personal branding. So how do we then start to grow it and become an authority?
First of all, you need to become that person that you want to be. Every day, live that. You may think that I'm not there yet, but be your best that you can be to become that person. Right? You it's not like you can literally just wake up one day. Today, I decided if that's the future version of myself, if that's the personal brand that I want to live, I want to be this positive, motivational person.
Yes.
And so how can I be that person? You can't just wake up and go, I'm so tired myself. And if you're just like that, then you're not living into your potential. So first of all, become that person you want to be. For me, as we have this formula which I've learned, and so like try and test it and like put it into my own thing, which I call COCO, COCOC.
Yes.
COCOC, COCO. It's this COCO formula where first you need to have the clarity of who you are, which we covered earlier. Know your why. How to present yourself to the world. Right? You need to have the clarity, not only to yourself, is to the world as well. Like, so when you go out to a networking event or what you put out on your website, do people immediately get who you are? What is the clarity? Like if you're a pregnancy expert, do you immediately tell people and, hi, my name is Michelle. I help expecting parents plan the arrival of the baby. That used to be my pitch. That used to be my audio logo. There's many names for this, right? So now my audio logo is, hi, I'm Michelle Hon. I help moms build businesses from home. And then just as simple as that. This adds clarity to you. It adds clarity to people who see you for the first time, whether online or in person, networking. And then they think, oh, whether this person can help me, or maybe if I'm not helpful to that person, maybe he thought, oh, I'm not a mom, but my wife might need that, So if you can communicate who you are with clarity, with crystal clear, no doubt what you do, people will immediately put you in a box, which is fine. And then they will see how they can help you or refer you on. But if you're like wishy-washy, go to a networking event and go, I don't know, I am a mom coach. Sometimes I teach them how to start a business or personal branding, and you spew out all these words, and people are like, if people are confused, they don't know who you are, they shut down. Right? So first of all, be really clear of who you are, clarity. Then the second thing is content. You need to be publishing content, whether it's on Instagram or your blog posts or what else? Video, Instagram's videos like YouTube or podcast. You need to be publishing. People need to know what's your stand on your subject. Right? How do you show your expertise? You teach people, or at least write your thoughts about that current subject. So you need to be publishing, or else, how else people going to find you? How else people going to know that you know that much about that certain subject or that thing that you're known for? Whether if you're known for, it may not be something like, business or related. You may want to be known as the fashion guru, the stylist. Then you still need to like take your OOTD or take a video of show people how you put things together affordably and know your target market, right? If your target market is people who can spend the money and it's all luxury brand, how you put luxury brand together without looking tacky, right? And if it's like affordable, how do you go to Target and put together an outfit for under $100 or $50? You know your client. So that comes with the clarity, know your client, who you're talking to, yourself, and then the content, put out content, and then your online profile. A lot of people like put out all these things, but then you Google them, you can't find anything about them. Right? So you need to make sure that you go to your LinkedIn, your Instagram profile, on your introduction. You allow that intro part, whatever you call that. What do you call that?
A bio?
Your profile, your profile. That actual word. it has to be consistent across all platforms.
Mm.
Consistent, because if I go to your Instagram, it says you are a finance girl, and then your Instagram is you're a travel blogger, or I think you can sort of, but just be consistent, focus on one thing first, and be really known for that, and then you can grow the other things. So be consistent, make sure your online profile, or that's why the content part comes in. So when I Google your name, if you are not being featured on other content or other press or website, at least all these like LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, or your own website would pop up. Then I would know about you, right?
Mm.
So yeah, if you have like a really bad record, someone like troll you on internet, make sure then that's when you need to put up even more content. So you bury the bad things.
Yes.
Yeah, you bury the bad things like, page 3 or 4 where nobody reads, right? So, and that's fine. So just, So that's that's the third part of the thing. And then, of course, why do we want a personal brand? You want to have an offer. You want to have a product or services that you offer to the world. And it has to be in line with what you do. So if you're a fashion person, is your offer should be something that, a service that you maybe overhaul someone's wardrobe, or become the stylist for one of my students. She has always been into fashion, but she did not know how to monetize it and who was her target market. And although her interest is very strong in that, she does not have any sort of like work-related experience to that. So what we're currently working on is that to get her to become like the confident styling person for moms who are going back to work. Okay,
very
so
clear.
Very clear. That's your target market. There are moms who are just like herself because she's been working and she knows how to put herself together to present to the corporate world. So that's what she does. For mom who's been away from corporate world and doesn't know how to put herself together. And most of the time it's really to do with confidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can give confidence, that's intangible. It's like a feeling. Feelings kind of tangible, but if you can capture that and offer that to the world, it adds to your personal branding, if that's what you do. Or if people are paying you that's called like, credibility right away, right? And the last thing in this whole system is collaboration. Who do you collaborate with that supports your branding? Who do you partner with? Who can you possibly partner with to offer your product better? Or if, especially these days, anyone can be an influencer. What sort of brands that you partner with that supports your brand? So if you are into luxury brand, for example, and a blog shop come to you, even though the money is good, you may not want to take it because that's just like totally not in line with what you do and what you've been telling your audience or your tribe to do. So that's the 5 things that I teach in my program.
That's very valuable. So it's COCOC formula. Coco.
Yeah, Coco.
Cool stuff. Now, when you talk about this online profile being consistent across platforms, what would you say? Does it work for those moms who are starting the business as a side hustle and they still have a job? Because then their LinkedIn profile might be for their job, and of course they want to be known also for whatever offers that they are making in the business. So how would you recommend that?
Yeah, good question. So your online profile, or what you tell the world should be the version that you want to be, not you in your current situation.
Right.
So for example, I've always wanted to be an author. My book was published 2 years ago, but way before that, even when I started writing and I have this vision that I'm going to publish a book, I've already started telling people, book will be ready, or like to be author. You already start people off telling people who you will become. Yeah. So for like a stay-at-home mom, if you want to go back to the corporate world, let's say you've always been in private banking, right? Of course, you put your resume and all that up there. And in LinkedIn, what's great about it, besides your title, and you can put like, I don't know, private banking specialist or expert or experienced private banker. And then underneath it, there's a summary that you can put. So although your last working experience may have ended 5 years ago, but that bit of summary is when you can put in a flair and a story about who you are and how you can be that person you want to be again. And it should not be all dry. I always like, that's also one thing that I teach in my program, is that we actually go into each profile and then how we can tweak it to the best, because as you know, each platform requires different things. Each platform has different like number of words or character that you can write, and how you can make it look great for that audience on that platform.
Yes.
Yeah. So for LinkedIn, go to the summary and make use of that part to tell a story of who you are. You could be a stay-at-home mom for the past 5 years, but you're still very in tune of the current finance trend. I'm just like saying this out of the top of my mind. I have no idea what finance world is like. And things like that. How you're still in touch with your I don't know, with your banker or with your clients and things like that. You still have, close relationship and things like that. So put it out there.
Yeah. Great stuff. Yeah.
Thank you.
And what you just said now, and also about becoming that person we want to be, that reminds me of another model that I remember I used to speak quite often when I was running trainings, which is that the be, do, have versus the have, do, be. So many of us so many of us, we operate using the have, do, be. So we feel that first we must get certain results before we do something to align with that, before we believe in ourselves become that person. But what you're saying is really going the other way. First, we have to be and see ourselves as that version, and that will influence our actions, and that's what's going to influence our results.
Yeah, so it's really got to do with, especially I think like a lot of moms that I work with, is self-confidence and mindset first. You need to step into the role. You need to want it, and then people will believe it. You can't expect people to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself.
Yeah. Well then, as we step into our they say fake it till we make it, this confidence and this mindset, a lot of us experience what we call the imposter syndrome. Especially as you keep kind of putting yourself in a bigger shoes and a bigger vision than you are now. So what advice do you have to overcome imposter syndrome?
Imposter syndrome. I think imposter syndrome hits you when you're not prepared. When you are, again, it comes back to the clarity. When you're unsure of who you are, when you lose confidence, right? It's when you are like, what am I doing here? What am I doing on stage talking about this? Who am I to do this? It's when you're unsure. But let's say if you practice for example, when I step on stage and give a talk, I would have practiced it like 50 times. Sometimes I do wing it, but like the message that I've been given out, like for example today, this message, like this interview, it wasn't rehearsed, but I've been talking about this for so many years. It just comes out. Or I could just be sitting here and think, who am I to say this? Who am I on that? It's when you are not clear about who you are and you haven't practiced your skill. You haven't honed your skill enough. So just prepare. I think it's like over prepare is always better than under prepare. Like I know a lot of us don't have a lot of time, but just be yourselves every day. I started this habit, which I take out a journal and I write who I want to be, like who I want to be in the present sense. You know what I mean?
Who you see yourself as.
As in like instead of say I want to be something, I write I am something.
Yes.
Like so instead of saying I want to be the number one speaker in the world, say I am the number one speaker in the world at first you will your heart or your mind would have this kind of like this opposing thing. It's like, who are you to write that? You know, you deal with it daily, on that daily basis, writing that down. But after a while, it becomes natural. It becomes like ingrained in you. Yes, I am, you know. So I think like you deal with imposter syndrome. Nobody can run away from this. Everybody has it. But you deal with it every day and you just get better at it. You just get better at it every day.
Yeah.
It's because you're prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know who you are, what you want, whether your why is strong enough, right? So when you think of imposter syndrome, it's when you think about yourself too much. You're like, what would people think of me? And you're thinking yourself first. But if you're thinking your why is big enough, I'm doing this because I want to provide for my daughters or my kids, or I want to do this for the moms that I community that I know, or in my story, because my mom passed away really young without realizing her dream, and she sacrificed all she had for us. And she always told me that I can be whoever I want to become to be, and I want to realize this dream. I want to help more moms who were like my mom, who had the dream not realized. So when I think about them, if I'm not performing at my best, when I think about them, then automatically the imposter syndrome doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what people think of me anymore, because I'm thinking that I need to be, or I need to teach, that the what I know, I need to pour it out myself to teach these people. Then what people think of me, or whether I deserve to be here, doesn't really matter.
That's so true.
I get really fired up when I talk about this. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Wow, it's really inspiring and so true. You know, like when we deeply know our why, as you said, our why becomes bigger than our insecurities.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So that's why we need to have a small why. That's what I quote my mom, my clients, my tribe to do, is that have a bigger why, have a small why, your personal why, and then have a bigger why. Even though it may sound ridiculous, but have a bigger why. How can you impact the world? Although you might think, oh, who am I to do that? But have that, at least have that at the back of your pocket.
Yes.
That it's really for you to reach into during the time that you need it, during the time when it's hard. Yeah.
Amazing. Now we talked a lot about personal branding and becoming an authority. I want us to talk a little bit about you. I want the audience to also learn a little bit about you, because you're walking the talk. You're running all these businesses and helping mom entrepreneurs, and you yourself are eating your medicine every day. So how do you take care of yourself in such demanding roles that you hold, and especially when you're holding space for all the other people you serve and your family?
That's a good question. Actually, like when you, because women send like a email questionnaire to me just this morning, I look at it and I'm like, oh yeah, how do I take care of myself? Because, you know, as women, we always put ourselves last. But now that I think about it, I think looking after yourself first. You know, a lot of people talk about self-care and things like that, but it's not so much that you go for like massage once a month. That's not enough. It has to be like consistently every day. Make sure you get enough sleep. Make sure you move. You know, I don't really exercise, you know, to be honest. That's something that I want to work on this year. You know, age is creeping. I feel like I'm getting a bit flabby here and there, so I want to exercise a bit more. But like eating well, like, you know, try as much as possible, not eat junk food. I do. I'm not saying I don't. You know, cookies and all that. I do occasionally indulge all you want, but as much as possible, eat your vegetables, your fruits. That's immediately feel like when I eat a piece of fruit, it immediately makes me feel better. And when you feel better, your whole, I don't know, it's just, I'm not being scientific here. It's just like you feel immediately, oh, I'm better. Like I feel better. It's just psychologically, it just helps you. So
and biologically as well.
Look after yourself, and then you can think about looking after other people, like being a good mom and being a loving wife, and also your career, your aspiration. Look after that, because I feel like, so number one, look after yourself, and then look after the person that's close to you. Like you want to be a good mom, you want to be a good wife, you want to be a good sister, daughter, brother, whoever. And then look after your own dream, just your career, your aspiration, because many times we overextend ourselves looking after other people that we do not give any time for our dreams and aspirations.
Yes.
And when we pour so much, but we're pouring it from an empty cup, eventually you're gonna burn out. Okay, so it's one after yourself, and then look after the people, and then number third, go after your aspiration. But sometimes you need to go after your aspiration. Make sure you're fulfilled, you're doing what's best for you first, and then you look after other people. Because for me, I'm always a model for my children. And I think part of it, I need to be fulfilled myself. I need to be going after my goal and my aspiration myself, because I do not want, as much as my kids want time with them, I do not want them to grow up thinking that they have to look after their kids first before themselves. So look after yourself, be happy with where you are, you're 100% fulfilled, and then you can look after other people. So that's in order of priority.
And you're right, sometimes it changes the order because it's
it
really about the season.
Exactly. When your kids are younger, you probably need to be there more, and your career or your business could go a little bit slower, and so that's a good question, because how do you look after yourself? And it's and I always tell people, you can have it all, but you not need to be balanced. And say, how do you balance? That's a wrong question to ask, because who says you need balance? Who says having exact 50-50 makes you happy? Because for me, I would say like 70% career and my own aspiration, and then 30% family makes me happy most of the time. And then when I get to the point where, I'm taking time off, I'm going on a holiday with my children, and I'm not doing any work, 90% family right now, just occasionally answering to messages from my team, and that works for me. So it's never 50-50 balance, and it makes me happy. So never buy into this concept that you need to balance your life. You don't have to, unless you want to, of course, but never just do it because people say, I need a balanced life.
Beautiful. That reminds me also of what one of our speakers, Grace Marshall, she was talking about productivity as well. She used balance in a different context as you, but she also spoke about the illusion of balance, that really isn't work-life balance, but rather she prefers to talk about work-life rhythm.
Interesting. I shall watch out for that summit.
Yes. And there's another speaker from South Africa, Jenny. She's talking about seasonal purpose. So really, it's about identifying, like what you said, at this season, your kids are really young. Your purpose might be more on that side, and the hit percentage is heavier on that side. And then when it's going up, then it's the difference.
Like now it's just, my kids are all at school, and in the morning I get, all my time to do my work, and then when they're home, then I'm with them. So so at least we these days as women, we have that flexibility.
This was such a great conversation. We ran over time, but I guess our audience was getting lots of value.
More content.
Yes, it just went so fast, more content. So to end off, I want to ask you about your free gifts, because you have prepared something for our audience. Can you tell us what it is and why would they love it?
Okay, so my free gift is called the 3 Secrets to a 6-Figure Business webinar, which I am running on the 4th of March and 6th of March. I think if you go to the link, is at michellehorn.com/webinar, and then you will find the sign up link, and you can select which day you can join us. But even if you can't join us on those 2 days and time, we're busy, just sign up. We will send you the replay video later. But of course, during the sign up, we'll have a bit more back and forth time, a bit more time for Q&A. If you have any question, I can answer you. And it's always more fun that way than watching a replay and seeing me answer other people's questions. So yeah, either way, if you're interested and thinking of starting a business and it's been either not moving or you have an idea, you don't know where to start, this is a good place to perhaps, just learn the 3 secrets of what you should do or not to do. Most importantly, there's a lot of time wasting, money wasting thing. So yeah, join me at that webinar.
Great, thank you. We surely will. And last question to end off with, as with all the others interviews, I always do this, is to ask, is there something I had missed or something that you find is a really important message that you want to leave our audience with?
Really important message. I think if you have something in your heart that you really want to do not wait to do it. Like, as the start of the year, we can see like there's so much doom and gloom coming. So the best takeaway that I can get from there is don't wait. Just start today. Live your day as if it's your last every day.
Thank you. Great. Thank you, Michelle, for your time today and for this valuable, lots of content for us.
Yay!
And thank you to all of you watching us now or listening to us right now. I hope you've got a lot of actionable tips that you can go about building a personal branding and just everything related to being a mom entrepreneur. So great. I will see you for the other interviews. Please remember to tune in and write to us your takeaways from this interview as well. All right. Bye-bye.